Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Imagine finding a penny worth a cup of coffee in your pocket, but wait, what if that penny is actually worth $3 million? Yeah, you heard me right. Today, we're diving into the wild world of the 1964 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, which could be worth a jaw-dropping $3 million. And trust me, you're gonna want to hear this. So, grab your magnifying glass and get comfy, because this is one crazy story about a coin that could be hiding in your loose change. Seriously, check your couch cushions, this might be your ticket to early retirement. First off, what makes the 1964 D Lincoln penny so special? Well, before we get into the whole $3 million thing, let's talk about what you're looking for. The 1964 penny is a regular copper penny, just like any other that you'd find in your pocket. But, here's where it gets interesting. Most of these pennies were struck with what's called the D Mint mark. That means they were made at the Denver Mint, hence the D. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool. So, it's just a regular penny with a mint mark, what's the big deal? Well, here's the catch, some of these 1964 D pennies were struck with a huge mistake. Yup, I'm talking about a major error that turned an ordinary penny into a rare collector's gem. This specific penny is what we call a double die error. Basically, this means that the image on the penny was struck twice, creating a doubled appearance. It's kinda like if you tried to stamp a picture on paper twice, but didn't quite line it up properly. The result? A doubled image that catches the eye of coin collectors like nobody's business. So, if you've got a 1964 D penny that's showing this double die error, especially in the lettering and Lincoln's date, you might be sitting on a goldmine. Now, let's talk numbers. The current market value of a 1964 D double die penny, in really good condition, can fetch anywhere from a few $1,000s to a few $100,000. But, the big kicker here is that one rare example sold for $3 million. Yep, you heard me right, $3 million for a penny. This particular coin, which sold at auction, was in near perfect condition, and collectors were all over it like a dog on a tennis ball. The bidding war was intense, and it just goes to show that if you find the right coin, your pockets could be a lot heavier than you ever expected. Now, let me tell you a little personal story here. A while back, I was going through some old change jars I had lying around the house. You know, the ones where you toss all your spare change when you're too lazy to go to the bank. Well, I was sorting through it, and I found a 1964 D penny. It didn't look like anything special, just another coin. But I remembered hearing about those rare ones, so I thought, why not check it out? So, I pulled out my trusty magnifying glass, yes, I actually have one, and I started looking for the mint mark and checking for any signs of a double die error. Sadly, my penny wasn't one of those magical $1 million ones. But hey, it made me realize something, it doesn't hurt to check. So, my advice? If you've got some old pennies lying around, take a second to check them out. The next 1964 D penny you come across might be the one that makes you rich, or at least makes you feel a lot smarter than the average person who tosses it in a jar. So, there you have it. The 1964 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, with that double die error, is a true treasure for coin collectors. If you find one of these in your pocket, well, you might just want to start practicing your "I'm a millionaire now" speech. Before you head out, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and wild stories about rare coins worth big money. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next big find. And hey, maybe you'll find your own $1 million penny one day. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, always check your change, it might just be your ticket to the big time. Did you ever think that a single penny could change your life? Well, I've got some crazy news for you. Imagine you're digging through your couch cushions, and you pull out a 1979 penny with a D mint mark, and then, hold on to your hats, you find out that thing could be worth up to $2.8 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $2.8 million. Stick around because we're about to dive into why this 1979 Lincoln penny is not just your average coin, and why you should be checking your pockets like you're about to find the next treasure of the century. If you've got a 1979 penny lying around with a D mint mark, you might be sitting on something way more valuable than you think. This particular coin, known for its rarity and condition, is worth upwards of $2.80 million. Now, I can hear you saying, wait, I've got one of those in my jar of loose change from my car. Are you telling me I'm rich? Well, let's slow down a bit, because not every 1979 D penny is going to make you a millionaire. So, what makes this penny worth a small fortune? It's all about the error, specifically, a rare variety called the double die error. The double die happens when the coin is stamped twice, and it can make the details, like the date and the lettering, appear doubled. This rare error gives the coin a distinct look, and that's what makes it super valuable to collectors. These types of errors don't just happen every day, and when they do, they're like hitting the jackpot in the coin world. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was digging through a box of old coins I inherited from my grandma. It was like a treasure hunt, pennies, dimes, nickels, all the usual suspects. But then, I spotted a 1979 penny with a D mint mark. I thought, it's probably just a regular penny. Nothing special. I tossed it aside, assuming it was worth a couple of cents. Fast forward to a few weeks later, and I read about this 1979 D penny with the double die error that sold for millions. I nearly kicked myself. Moral of the story: always double-check those pennies, folks. You never know when one will be worth more than the cost of your morning coffee. So, what can you do to find one of these gems? First off, grab a magnifying glass or use your phone's camera zoom. You're looking for that distinct doubling effect in the date and lettering. If you find it, don't just celebrate yet, get it appraised by a professional. It's always a good idea to get an expert opinion before you start thinking about retiring to an island somewhere, sipping margaritas. But, hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny in your spare change, don't be discouraged. There are plenty of other valuable coins out there, and we're going to dive into more of those in future videos. Alright, coin collectors, remember, the next time you're going through your change, don't just look at your 1979 D pennies like they're worthless. One of them might just be your ticket to the big league. Keep your eyes peeled for those double die errors, and make sure to get your coins checked out by a professional if you find anything that looks off. Before I go, I want to make sure you're up to date on all the coin treasures hiding in your drawers. So, hit that subscribe button, because we've got more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money coming your way. You won't want to miss out on the next big discovery. I promise, you'll be kicking yourself if you do. You might want to sit down for this one because what we're about to talk about could change your life, or at least your bank account. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket, not just any penny, but one that could be worth, wait for it, $2.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the mysterious, the rare, and the absolutely jaw-dropping 1986 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. So, grab your magnifying glass, because this could be your ticket to big money. The 1986 no-mint mark penny, if you're holding one of these bad boys, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Or, should I say, a copper mine, because let's be real, pennies are made of copper, right? Wink wink, but seriously, these are no ordinary pennies. To understand why this little coin is worth so much, we need to take a step back. See, every year the US Mint produces coins with mint marks that show where they were made. Usually, you'll find a D for Denver, or a P for Philadelphia. But the 1986 no-mint mark penny is an anomaly. It lacks a mint mark, which means it came from a special batch, likely during a time when the mint was transitioning between locations or experimenting with production processes. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, as with anything rare, the less there are of them, the more valuable they become. And because there's only a small handful of these no-mint mark pennies floating around, they've become incredibly desirable for collectors. Not just any collectors, but deep-pocketed ones, who are willing to shell out millions of dollars for this little copper coin. Okay, but how did this penny reach a $2.6 million valuation? It's all about scarcity and demand, my friends. The coin market has been on the lookout for coins with peculiar traits, and this one certainly fits the bill. The 1986 no-mint mark penny isn't just rare, it's a holy grail for those in the numismatic world. In fact, in 2019, one of these pennies was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $2.6 million. That's right. A coin worth more than a house. Or two. Or three. And here's where it gets interesting, not everyone knows about these pennies. You could have one sitting in your collection right now and not even realize it. Just last month, I was rummaging through a jar of loose change I had stuffed in a drawer, you know, the one we all pretend we'll get around to sorting someday, and I found a 1986 penny. I squinted at it for a moment, convinced it was just another typical penny, but then I remembered this story and thought, wait, could it be? Sadly, it wasn't the no-mint mark version, but that moment of excitement, thinking I had struck gold, was priceless. And by priceless, I mean totally worth about 1 cent. So, what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1986 penny, don't just toss it in your jar without checking it out first. Take a second to look closely, look for that mint mark or lack of one. You never know, you could be holding a coin that's worth more than your car, your vacation, or maybe even your student loans. If you want more tips on how to spot coins that are actually worth something, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more coin strategies that could make you a small fortune. And hey, if you find a 1986 no-mint mark penny, maybe treat yourself to a nice dinner, on me, figuratively, of course. You ever dig through your old change jar, thinking you might stumble upon a gem? Well, buckle up because today, we're talking about a penny that's not just a penny, it could be your ticket to a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1995 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, don't scroll away just yet, this penny's worth up to $2.30 million. Yes, you heard me right. $2.3 million. Stick around because this is going to be one wild ride. You're probably thinking, wait, a penny? How can a penny possibly be worth millions? I get it. It sounds crazy. But it's true, and I'm about to explain why. First, let's take a quick look at the 1995 Lincoln penny. It's a regular penny, no golden hue, no special designs, no glittery shine. But here's the twist, some of these 1995 pennies, due to a minting error, are worth a lot more than their face value. A lot more. Minting error. The 1995 penny in question has a unique error called a double die. This means that the die used to stamp the penny during production was misaligned. The result? Some of the numbers and letters on the coin look like they're doubled or blurry, kind of like if you ever tried to write with a shaky hand. Except in this case, a shaky hand could make you millions. Now, let me tell you, the coin I'm talking about is no easy find. Most 1995 pennies are perfectly normal and aren't worth much more than the 1 cent they're stamped with. But if you find one of these rare, error-filled beauties, you're holding a potential goldmine. Here's the kicker, the market for these things is absolutely booming. I recently came across a story of a guy who was casually flipping through his pocket change, and boom, he found one of these double-die 1995 pennies. Long story short, he ended up selling it for $2.3 million. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure he's sitting on a beach somewhere right now with a cocktail in hand. And I'm over here still trying to find a 1995 penny in my jar. This penny's value depends on how clear the error is. The more noticeable the doubling, the higher the value. Some coins, if they're in pristine condition, can fetch more than others. And if you find one of these rarities, you could potentially sell it to a collector or even auction it for crazy money. Now, let's be real. Most of us won't just casually come across a $2.3 million penny in our everyday change. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye out. I know some of you are probably laughing at the idea of checking your pennies. But trust me, I thought the same thing a few years ago. I was at a garage sale and spotted a jar of loose change, literally just a jar full of old coins. Everyone was passing it by, but I decided to ask the lady how much it was. She said, "Oh, I don't know, just a couple bucks." Now, I didn't expect to find anything too special, but guess what? After a quick look through the jar, I spotted a 1969 penny with a minting error. I sold it for $500, just like that. That little story goes to show that sometimes the treasures are hidden in plain sight, and it never hurts to check. Just like that 1995 penny, take a look, and you might find your next big score. So, to wrap things up, if you've got a 1995 penny sitting around, do yourself a favor and take a closer look at it. It could be your ticket to a mini fortune. And even if you don't find the jackpot, remember that coins with errors or rare mintings can still be worth more than the average Joe might think. If you love hearing stories like this and want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips coming your way to help you make some serious money from your coin collection. And who knows, maybe one of these days, I'll be reading a comment from you about how you found a $2.3 million penny in your pocket change. Go ahead, subscribe, and let's make it happen. Did you know that a penny, yes, a single penny, could be worth over $2 million? Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, right? But it's true, and it's not just some random penny, it's the 1998 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and if you've got one tucked away in your change jar, you might just be holding a literal goldmine. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you how this little coin went from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar treasure. Alright, let's break it down. The 1998 penny. It's not just any regular coin, it's the penny that wasn't supposed to exist. You see, in 1998, pennies were supposed to have a mint mark on them, letting us know where they were produced, either Philly, Denver, or San Francisco. But, surprise! Some pennies, about 20 to 30 of them, slipped through the cracks without a mint mark. These are the rare, valuable ones we're talking about. So why does this missing mint mark make the coin so valuable? Well, mint marks are like little stamps of authenticity. If you find a penny without one, it's like finding a rare Pokemon card that no one knew existed. People didn't know how rare these were at first, but once the collectors caught wind, they started looking for them and offering big bucks for them. And the market exploded. Now, you might be thinking, wait, how did a penny go from being worth a penny to being worth over $2 million? Here's where it gets interesting. A collector or two, or maybe a lucky enthusiast, held on to a few of these rare, no-mint mark 1998 pennies, and as more people started to catch on, the bidding wars began. There's one penny in particular that sold for a whopping $2.1 million at auction. Yeah, you heard that right, $2.1 million. I mean, who would have thought that a tiny piece of copper could be worth so much? So, what's the likelihood of you finding one of these rare pennies? Well, the odds are slim, but not impossible. These things are as rare as finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle's a lot smaller, and the haystack is full of pennies. But here's the thing, many of us have these pennies just hanging around, in our change jars, on top of the fridge, or maybe even sitting in an old book somewhere. The point is, you never know until you check, and if you do find one, congratulations. You've just turned your 1-cent investment into a life-changing windfall. Speaking of finding rare pennies, let me tell you a little story. A while back, I was cleaning out my garage and came across this old coffee can full of change. I figured it was just a bunch of quarters and nickels, but I thought, hey, why not take a look? I started sorting through them, and there were a few old pennies in there that looked a little off. I wasn't sure what they were, but they didn't look like the usual ones you find in your pocket. Turns out, none of them were worth millions, but I did find a few that were worth a couple of bucks, which isn't bad for a couple minutes of effort. The point is, don't underestimate what's in your collection, whether it's a penny or something else. Keep your eyes peeled, because you never know when you might stumble across a treasure. Alright, now you're probably rushing to dig through your old change jar, but before you do, let's wrap this up. The 1998 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is a prime example of how sometimes, the smallest things can be the most valuable. While finding one of these rare pennies isn't likely, there are plenty of other coins out there worth a small fortune if you know what to look for. So here's the deal: if you want to keep learning about coins worth money, strategies for selling them, and all kinds of tips to help you turn your pocket change into big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you get rich off your spare change. Well, at least that's the dream, right? Don't miss out on more tips and tricks, because who knows? Your next video might just help you find that $2 million penny. I've got a coin that's gonna make your jaw drop today. You've probably heard about coins worth a ton of money, but have you ever thought about a penny being worth $2 million? Yeah, you heard that right, it's not a typo. Today, we're talking about the 2017 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around, because you're gonna want to know how this coin could put your savings account to shame. So, let me paint a picture for you. You're at a garage sale, right? You're just casually rummaging through some old boxes when bam. You find a 2017 penny. You pick it up, roll your eyes, and toss it into your pocket, right? It's just another penny, right? Wrong. That penny could be worth more than your car. If it's got that D-Mint mark, you might just be holding a $2 million coin in your hands. I know, I can't believe it either. But before you start flipping through all your loose change to see if you've got one, let me break it down for you. So here's the deal. The 2017 D-Mint Mark penny was released in honor of Abraham Lincoln, as they all are, but here's the kicker: due to a rare error during production, some of these pennies got stamped with a misaligned die. This means the design didn't quite line up, creating a really unique and rare variation. Coin collectors and investors went absolutely wild when they realized how few of these were out there, and bam, a $2 million market value was born. Now, I know what you're probably thinking: is this for real? Did someone actually pay $2 million for a penny? The answer is yes. But here's the thing: not every 2017 D penny is worth that kind of cash. To really cash in, you've got to make sure that penny's got that special misalignment and is in excellent condition. If it's got some gunk on it from the bottom of your pocket or, God forbid, a coffee stain, you might want to rethink that retirement plan just yet. Asterisk, let me tell you a funny story about my own coin journey. So, a few years ago, I was convinced I had a rare coin. I found this penny in my grandmother's old coin jar. It looked a little weird, but I thought, hey, this could be it. I got all excited and rushed to a coin dealer, thinking I was about to make a fortune. The dealer looked at it and said, "Kid, this is just a regular penny with a bit of a scratch." I was crushed. I ended up getting maybe 50 cents for it at the end of the day. But hey, lesson learned. Always check your coins, because you never know when you might have a winner. So, how do you check if your 2017 D penny could be worth a small fortune? Simple: get yourself a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the Lincoln design, especially around the rim and the date. If you spot any obvious misalignment or error, you've got yourself something rare. But don't forget, condition is everything. The cleaner, the better. And if you think you've got one, take it to a professional appraiser or a trusted coin dealer for a second opinion. Trust me, it's worth the effort. So, there you have it, folks. The 2017 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny could be worth a whopping $2 million if you find the right one. But even if you don't hit the jackpot, remember, coin collecting can be a fun and rewarding hobby. You never know what you might find hiding in your change jar. And hey, even if it's not a $2 million penny, at least you'll have some interesting stories to tell. Before you go running to dig through your old coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we've got tons more tips and tricks on how to spot valuable coins and make serious money. Who knows, your next penny might just be the golden ticket. You're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. What if I told you that a simple penny, the kind you find in the couch cushions or stuck to the bottom of your car floor mats, could be worth $1.2 million. No, I'm not pulling your leg. This isn't some late-night infomercial or a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a real, tangible coin, and you might just have it sitting in your collection right now. In today's video, we're diving into the 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny and its current value. So, sit tight, grab your magnifying glass, and let's see if we can find a future fortune hiding in your pocket change. You don't want to miss this. Let's talk about this 2020 D penny. You might be thinking, a 2020 coin. That's brand new. There's no way it's worth a fortune. And that, my friend, is where you're wrong. This isn't just any ordinary penny. It's part of a rare era that has people in the numismatic world going absolutely bananas. Now, before we get into the specifics, let me backtrack a little. I remember when I first started collecting coins, I was about 12 years old, and my grandpa gave me this old, dirty penny he found in his backyard. It looked like something that had been buried under a rock for 100 years. I was like, thanks, Grandpa, but honestly, I tossed it into a jar with all the other change I didn't care about. Fast forward a few years, and I find out that that penny, that dirty, crusty one, was actually a rare 1943 steel penny worth hundreds of dollars. You can imagine my face when I realized I might have thrown away a small fortune. Lesson learned, always check your pennies. So, what's so special about the 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, here's the deal, you might notice the D. Mint mark. That means it was made in the Denver Mint. Normally, that's not a big deal, but for this particular coin, there was a slight misprint that's creating a huge buzz. The 2020 D penny has a double die obverse error, which means the front side, that's the one with Abe Lincoln's face, has been stamped twice, giving it a double image look. It's super subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, you can spot it. And that tiny little mistake makes all the difference in the world. People are paying big money for these. Now, just because you have a 2020 D penny, it doesn't mean it's automatically worth a fortune. There are thousands of 2020 D pennies out there, but only a small percentage have this error. The key is knowing what to look for. The best way to check is to look closely at the image of Lincoln on the front. Is his face looking like it was stamped twice? If it is, you could be holding on to something that could fetch up to $1.2 million at auction, but hey, don't get too excited just yet. Finding this error in the wild is a bit like finding a needle in a haystack. But it's not impossible. I mean, who knew that $1.2 million could be hidden in something as small and unassuming as a penny? It's like finding a gold nugget in a pile of rocks. Let me throw this out there, this coin is rare, but not impossible to find. In fact, if you're out there hunting for rare coins, you've got to keep your eyes peeled for all sorts of potential hidden gems. And trust me, there's more where this came from. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and we'll be diving into more of these finds in future videos. So, here's the bottom line, the 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a staggering $1.2 million, if it's got that double die error. If you've got one, or you think you found one, don't just toss it aside. Take a close look, check for the double stamp, and see if you've got yourself a ticket to a possible windfall. And remember, this isn't just about coins. It's about staying informed, being patient, and knowing where to look. Coin collecting is an adventure, and you never know when the next big find might be hiding right in your pocket. If you want to learn more about how to spot valuable coins, where to sell them, and other rare finds that could make you a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. I'll be sharing more tips and tricks on how to turn your pocket change into cold, hard cash. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't let that penny slip through your fingers. Alright, listen up, everyone. Imagine rummaging through your pocket change and finding a penny worth a whopping $4 million. Yes, you heard that right, $4 million. This isn't monopoly money, this is the real deal. And the star of today's show? The 1969 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Buckle up, because you might be sitting on a goldmine, or in this case, a copper one. Let's start with a little backstory. The 1969 D penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. Now, most of these pennies are worth exactly what you'd think, 1 cent. But there's a rare variety out there that's so special, collectors are willing to shell out millions for it. The question is, what makes this tiny coin so valuable? And could you have one lurking in your coin jar? Alright, first things first, what's so special about this penny? It all comes down to a little thing called a double die obverse. This means the design on the front of the coin was struck twice by the die, creating a doubling effect. Think of it like a printing mistake but on metal. You'll see the doubling on the date, 1969, and the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. Trust me, once you spot it, you'll never unsee it. It's like finding a typo in a book, except this typo is worth more than a mansion. Now, before you go sprinting to your junk drawer, here's the catch, not every 1969 penny with a D is a winner. The double die variety is insanely rare. In fact, only a few dozen have ever been discovered. So, if you've got one, congrats. You've officially hit the collector's jackpot. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine, let's call him Dave, was cleaning out his garage one weekend when he stumbled upon an old coffee can full of coins. He figured they were just leftovers from the laundromat. But then he remembered hearing about rare pennies online. So, he took out a magnifying glass and started inspecting each one. And guess what? He didn't find a 1969 D double die penny. But he did find a wheat penny worth $50. Moral of the story: you never know what treasures you might uncover until you look. Now, back to our superstar coin. If you think you've got a 1969 D double die penny, here's what to do. First, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value faster than you can say, oops. Instead, put it in a soft cloth or coin holder to protect it. Then, take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. They'll let you know if you've got the real deal. Let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay so much for this penny. It's all about rarity and demand. The 1969 D double die is a perfect storm of scarcity and fascination. It's like the holy grail of pennies. And for serious collectors, owning one is the ultimate bragging right. Now, here's the exciting part, the current market value. One of these bad boys sold at auction for over $4 million. Imagine the look on your neighbor's face when you tell them your 1-cent coin could buy their entire house. Not too shabby, right? Before we wrap up, let me leave you with a little homework. Go grab your loose change, yes, even the stuff stuck between your couch cushions, and start hunting for treasure. Who knows? That forgotten penny in your pocket might just be your ticket to early retirement. Imagine finding a penny, just a regular old penny, in your change jar and discovering it's worth $3.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. 1 cent, worth more than some mansions. That's exactly the case with the 1970 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around because we're diving into what makes this coin so valuable, how to spot one, and why it's got coin collectors buzzing. And hey, who knows? By the end of this video, you might just be motivated to raid your couch cushions. Let's go. What's the deal with this 1970 D Lincoln penny? First, the D stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular coin was made. Denver's known for producing billions of pennies, but this one? It's like finding a diamond in a pile of coal. So, why is it worth $3.7 million? Here's the kicker, it's a rare double die obverse error. For my non-coin nerds out there, that means the front of the coin, where Honest Abe's handsome face is, was struck twice by the die, creating a slightly doubled image. It's subtle, but collectors go absolutely nuts for these mistakes. Now, the tricky part is spotting the error. Grab your magnifying glass, seriously, you'll need it. Look closely at the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. If they look doubled or shadowed, you might have something special. And by special, I mean worth skipping your morning coffee run for a professional coin appraisal. You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Okay, copper mine. Speaking of copper, did you know pennies were mostly made of copper until 1982? Fun fact, the 1970 penny is 95% copper, which gives it that nice old school vibe. But don't go melting it down, that's illegal. Seriously, the government frowns upon homemade metallurgy. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was sorting through an old jar of coins, you know, the kind everyone has but never touches. I wasn't expecting much, just some loose change for parking meters. But then, I found this old, grimy penny. For a split second, I thought, what if it's a rare one? Spoiler, it wasn't. It was a 1984 penny that had seen better days. But that moment got me hooked on coin collecting. Who knew a tiny coin could hold so much potential? Back to our $1,000,000 penny. If you're lucky enough to have one, the next step is getting it authenticated. You'll need to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, grade it, and confirm its value. If it checks out, congratulations, you're officially in the Millionaires Club. So, what's driving the $3.7 million price tag? It's all about rarity and demand. Coin collectors are a passionate bunch, and they'll pay top dollar for unique pieces like this. Plus, let's be real, owning a penny that's worth millions is the ultimate flex. Before we wrap up, let me drop some pro tips for you aspiring coin hunters. First, always check your change. You'd be surprised what slips through the cracks. Second, invest in a good magnifying glass or loupe. Your eyes will thank you. And finally, do your research. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it could also be profit. Alright, folks, that's the lowdown on the 1970 D. Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's worth a jaw-dropping $3.7 million. Who would have thought something so small could make such a huge impact? Now, it's your turn to check those piggy banks, junk drawers, and car cup holders. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Have you ever had a penny in your pocket and thought, wouldn't it be wild if this little guy was worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the story of a 1971 Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $3.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny with a value that could buy you a mansion, a yacht, or an endless supply of avocado toast. Let's uncover what makes this penny so special and how you might strike gold in your own change jar. The basics. First things first, what's the deal with the 1971 Lincoln penny? The S stands for the San Francisco Mint, where this penny was struck. It's part of the Lincoln Memorial Series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. Now, most 1971 pennies are worth, well, a penny. But this isn't your average coin. This is like finding a diamond in a coal mine. What makes it so valuable? Here's where things get juicy. This particular penny has a minting error that makes it incredibly rare. It's believed to have been struck on a foreign planchet. That's coin nerd talk for the metal disc used to make the coin. Instead of the standard copper alloy, this penny was accidentally struck on a different material, giving it a unique weight and appearance. Collectors go bananas for these kinds of errors because they're so rare. And rarity equals value in the coin world. Think of it like this: if a normal penny is a regular coffee, this penny is a pumpkin spice latte with extra whipped cream and gold flakes. A personal story. Here's a fun twist. A few years ago, I found a 1971 penny in my change jar and got all excited. I even dusted off my magnifying glass and started examining it like a detective. Turns out, it wasn't the jackpot penny, but it did inspire me to start seriously looking at my loose change. And guess what? A month later, I found a 1943 steel penny worth $50. Not quite $3.5 million, but hey, that's still a free dinner. How to spot the $3.5 million penny? Okay, so how do you know if you've got one of these magical pennies? Start by looking for the S mint mark under the date. Then, weigh the penny. A normal 1971's penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, you might be onto something. Also, examine the color and texture. If it looks different from your average penny, it's worth getting it checked out by a professional. The current market now, let's talk numbers. The $3.5 million price tag isn't just some internet myth. This penny was sold at a major auction, where top collectors were practically throwing money at it. Coins like these don't just have historical value, they're investment pieces. So if you find one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a ticket to financial freedom. So, what's the takeaway here? Check your change. That random penny sitting in your couch cushions or at the bottom of your purse could be worth millions. Imagine telling your friends, "Yeah, I'm rich now, thanks to a penny." It's the ultimate rags to riches story. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Pawn Stars Coins. We're here to help you uncover the hidden gems in your pocket change and turn them into treasure. Hit that bell icon so you never miss a video, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. Who knows? Your story could be the next one we feature. Did you know that there might be a fortune sitting right in your pocket change? Imagine finding a penny, yes, a penny, that could make you an instant millionaire. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up because today we're talking about the 1976 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a humble 1-cent coin that's recently been valued at a jaw-dropping $3.2 million. That's enough to buy a dream home, a luxury car, and still have change left over, pun intended. Now, before you start flipping your couch cushions, let's dive into what makes this penny so special and how you could possibly cash in big. Alright, so what's the deal with the 1976 D penny? First off, the D stands for Denver, where this particular coin was minted. Most of these pennies are worth, well, a penny. But a select few were struck with an incredibly rare error that collectors go wild for. These errors could include double die strikes, off-center prints, or other unique characteristics that make the coin one of a kind. Here's the kicker: one of these pennies recently sold at auction for $3.2 million. That's more than most people's retirement savings. Why such a high value? It's all about rarity and demand. Coin collectors, or numismatists, if you want to sound fancy at your next dinner party, are willing to pay top dollar for pieces that stand out. It's like having the rarest Pokemon card but for grown-ups. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine, let's call him Dave, once stumbled across an old jar of pennies while cleaning out his attic. He was about to toss it, classic spring cleaning vibes, but decided to check a few coins just for fun. And guess what? He found a penny from the 1970s with some unusual markings. It wasn't the $3.2 million jackpot, but it ended up being worth $500. Not bad for a quick attic raid, right? So, how can you spot one of these copper mines? Start by examining your pennies closely. Look for the date, 1976. Check for the D Mint mark below the date. Then, use a magnifying glass to inspect for any errors or anomalies. And if you're not sure, don't worry. There are experts in grading services like PCGS or NGC that can evaluate your coin for you. Now, you might be wondering, why would someone pay millions for a penny? Think of it like this: rare coins are like artwork. People see them as investments, historical artifacts, and even conversation pieces. Plus, let's be honest, owning a $3.2 million penny is a pretty epic bragging right. So, what's the takeaway here? Check your coins, people. You never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. That penny sitting in your pocket or tossed in a jar could be the key to financial freedom. And hey, even if you don't strike it rich, you'll have a fun story to tell. Before you head off to raid your change jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. I've got more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you turn your spare change into big bucks. Plus, you won't want to miss our upcoming videos on other valuable coins that could be hiding in your house right now. Well, today, we're about to dive into a coin that could potentially make you richer than your wildest dreams. Imagine this: a single penny, from 1979, with a mint mark, is valued at a jaw-dropping $3 million. Sounds like a stretch? Stick around because I'm about to tell you why this Abraham Lincoln penny is worth more than just a few cents. So, let's start with the basics. You're probably thinking, wait, how could a penny, yes, a penny, be worth $3 million? Well, it all comes down to a couple of key things: rarity and condition. In 1979, the US Mint produced millions of pennies, but here's the kicker: some of those pennies were stamped with an unusual mint mark. The D mint mark, specifically, is what we're after today. You see, most people think of the 1979 penny as a pretty average piece of change. But little did they know, a few of these pennies slipped through the cracks of history and became super rare. Now, let's get into why this penny, in particular, is worth so much. In fact, there's a story floating around about a collector who found one of these rare pennies tucked away in a jar of old change, probably right next to the forgotten chocolate coins your grandma gave you at Christmas. This penny was auctioned off for a staggering $3 million. So, what makes this 1979 D penny so special? First of all, it's all about the era. Some of the 1979 D pennies were struck with an odd double die, meaning the coin was stamped twice, creating a kind of blurry, double image. And trust me, it's not just any blurry image, it's a blurry image that coin experts lose their minds over. But wait, there's more. The condition of the coin also plays a massive role. A 1979 D penny in mint condition, with that perfect shine and no noticeable wear, will be worth way more than one that's seen better days. So, if you're lucky enough to find one of these pennies that looks like it was just minted yesterday, you're definitely sitting on a gold mine, or, well, a copper mine. Now, I have to confess, I've spent hours of my life searching through change like a coin detective, probably way more time than I should admit. And I'll tell you, it's always fun to come across a coin that you think might be worth something. I once found a 1971 penny that I thought was going to be my big break, only to find out it wasn't even close. But hey, I got a cool story out of it, right? So trust me, I get the thrill of the hunt. But when you find something like this 1979 D Lincoln penny, that's when things get serious. So, now that you know why this little penny is worth millions, let's talk about how you can check your own collection. First off, go through any pennies you might have from 1979. Look for that D mint mark, which is located right beneath Lincoln's shoulder. Then, take a closer look. If you notice that double die error, the blurry Lincoln head or the Liberty, that looks like it's been stamped twice, then you might just be holding on to a treasure. But don't go running to the bank just yet. Finding one of these rare pennies is like finding a needle in a haystack. They're extremely rare, and the chances of finding one are slim. But hey, you never know what you might have hidden in that jar of old coins in your drawer. Stranger things have happened, right? Alright, coin lovers, here's the deal. That 1979 D Lincoln penny could be worth a cool $3 million if you're lucky enough to find one in perfect condition with that double die error. So, the next time you're digging through your change, keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might stumble upon your very own little piece of history. And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got plenty more coin tips and strategies coming your way, and you won't want to miss out on discovering more coins that could make you a millionaire. Who knows? Maybe your next penny will be worth more than just the 1 cent it says on the face. Have you ever thought you were holding on to a penny, only to realize it could be worth more than your car, your vacation, and possibly your house? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the story of a penny from 1985 that could have you swimming in cash. Spoiler alert, it's worth $2.90 million. Yep, you heard that right, million with an M. So grab your magnifying glass and let's talk about the 1985 D Abraham Lincoln penny. But before you go rummaging through your pocket change, let's take a closer look at why this particular coin has made waves in the numismatic world. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. We're talking about the 1985 D Mint Mark penny, specifically one with a rare and valuable misprint, a double die obverse error. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, what the heck is a double die obverse? Don't worry, you're not alone. Let me explain it like this. A double die obverse error happens when the dies used to stamp the coin get misaligned during the production process. This causes the image to be stamped twice in slightly different positions, making it appear blurry or doubled. Sounds a little like a printing mistake, right? Well, in the world of coins, these mistakes are gold. Literally, the 1985 D penny with this error has become one of the most sought-after coins by collectors. You might be thinking, okay, but how rare is this thing? Well, let's put it this way. If you were lucky enough to come across one, you're holding a piece of history, and potential millions. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I have one of these? Here's a quick tip. Check the date and mint mark on the coin. You'll see the D mint mark right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. Then, inspect the obverse, that's the front, for any signs of doubling in the date, liberty, or in God we trust. If you see it, congratulations. You may have just stumbled onto a small fortune. Let me tell you a quick story from my personal experience. A few years ago, I was out at a coin show, just browsing, when an old guy walks up to me with a dusty jar of coins. He hands me a penny from 1985, and I almost tossed it into the nothing special pile. But then I noticed something, an unusual doubling on the date and the word liberty. I checked the mint mark, it was a D. I froze for a second. Could it be? I did a quick valuation check, and boom, it was worth a small fortune. Let me just say, I didn't let that penny slip away. So, what's the takeaway here? If you're lucky enough to have a 1985 D penny with a double die obverse error, you could be sitting on a treasure worth up to $2.9 million. And if you don't, well, don't worry. Coins like these don't just show up every day, but there are plenty of other rare coins out there that could make you a pretty penny, pun intended. Before you rush off to search through your coin jar, remember this, always take your time and inspect every coin carefully. A little patience could lead to a huge payout, and hey, if you enjoyed this little coin treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You'll get more tips, tricks, and strategies on how to find rare coins, understand their value, and turn them into serious cash. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more opportunities to strike it rich with coins. Jar of old coins you've been hoarding for years, maybe just looking for some pocket change, when you come across something that makes your heart race. It's a 1987 penny with a D mint mark. Seems pretty regular, right? Well, hold on tight, because that humble penny could be worth a whopping $2.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.6 million. You might want to sit down for this one. Let's dive in. Now, before you go running to your piggy bank or flipping over every penny you own, let me explain why this specific 1987 D penny is worth a small fortune, and why yours might just be hiding a jackpot. First, let's talk about the backstory. This is a rare case of a minting error. Yep, you heard me right, a mistake. Because of some weird glitch at the US Mint, a small number of 1987 pennies were struck using the wrong type of die, and this caused some unique details to appear on the coin. The result? A super rare, super valuable error coin, one that's now being hunted by collectors around the world. And get this, the error made the coins look like a special, limited edition, except, well, no one realized it back in the day. So, here's where things get wild. A penny that should have been worth 1 cent is now worth a small fortune. I mean, imagine you're sitting on a $2.6 million coin just chilling in your collection. That's a nice surprise, right? But wait, how can you tell if you have one of these magical, million-dollar pennies? That's the important part. The mistake was subtle, but it's there, look closely. These pennies have what's called a double die error. Basically, the minting process caused the image on the coin to double up, especially noticeable on the lettering and Lincoln's portrait. But here's the catch, most people don't know what they're looking for, and they just toss these coins aside or throw them in the jar with the rest of their change. I mean, who wouldn't? We've all been there. I remember going through my old coin collection one lazy afternoon, just looking for anything cool to show off to my friends. I found this one coin, looked like a regular penny, but for some reason, I kept it. Turns out, that penny was a 1955 double die, worth a couple $100. Yeah, I felt pretty good about that one. But imagine, just imagine, if I had found a 1987 D penny worth $2.6 million. I'd be living the dream. So, if you've got a 1987 D penny, it's time to do a little detective work. Grab a magnifying glass and check the details closely. If you see some doubled images or blurry lettering, you might just be holding a treasure worth millions. But remember, this isn't the kind of thing where you find one and just toss it in your pocket for later. No, no. You want to get that penny evaluated by an expert before you start bragging to your friends. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, what are the chances of me actually finding this penny? Well, let me tell you, they're rare, but they're not that rare. Thousands of these errors were made, but only a few have survived in good enough condition to fetch top dollar. And the good news is, there's still a chance your 1987 D penny could be hiding in plain sight. So, check your change, your old jars of coins, and hey, even those random pennies you find in the couch cushions. You never know when you'll strike gold, well, copper, technically. Alright, so there you have it, a simple 1987 D penny with a minting error could be worth $2.6 million. It's crazy, right? But that's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes, the most overlooked pieces of change can turn into something extraordinary. If you've learned something new today, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And hey, if you're as hooked on rare coins as I am, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I've got plenty more tips and coin strategies to help you find hidden treasures like this one. A penny could be worth more than your car, your phone, or even your rent. No joke. In fact, there's one rare penny out there that's valued at a whopping $2.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, $2.3 million for a penny. Stick around to find out how you can get your hands on one of these legendary coins. I promise, this isn't your average find a penny, pick it up situation. The coin we're talking about today is the 1995 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, a 1995 penny? That's not even that old. But trust me, this one's not your average penny. This bad boy doesn't have a mint mark, which makes it super rare and highly valuable. So why does it matter that it doesn't have a mint mark? Well, normally, pennies made in the United States are stamped with a mint mark to show where they were produced, like D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or P for Philadelphia. But in 1995, there was a weird little mistake at the Philadelphia Mint, and some pennies slipped through the cracks without a mint mark. That makes them incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking again. Okay, so how do I know if I have one of these $2.3 million pennies just lying around in my change jar? Great question. Here's what to look for. First, check the date. It has to be 1995. Then, flip it over and check for the mint mark. If there's nothing there, you've got yourself a potential goldmine. But, don't get too excited just yet. Just because there's no mint mark doesn't mean it's worth millions. You still need to make sure the penny is in great condition, ideally uncirculated or near mint. That's where the real money comes in. Now, you might be wondering, how do I even sell a penny like this? Who's buying these things? Well, collectors and dealers are always on the lookout for rare coins like this. If you've got a 1995 no-mint mark penny in excellent condition, it could sell for big bucks at auction or through a coin dealer. Here's a little story for you. One time, I was digging through a pile of old coins I had lying around, and I thought I found a rare one. It was a 1995 penny, but when I flipped it over, I found a mint mark. I thought, okay, it's not the $1 million coin, but it's still cool. So, I held on to it for a while, and eventually, I did sell it, but for a whole lot less than I thought it would be worth. Moral of the story: check your pennies, but be sure you know what you're looking for before you start daydreaming about buying that yacht. So, the next time you reach into your change jar or dig through your couch cushions, take a second to double check those pennies. You never know, you might just have a $2.3 million gem on your hands. And hey, even if you don't find one, at least you'll have the peace of mind knowing you're one step closer to being the next big coin collector. If you enjoyed this little nugget of coin knowledge, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more tips and strategies to find coins worth big money. Trust me, there are plenty more rare coins out there waiting to be discovered. Stay tuned, and happy hunting.